The horse or the jockey? Who is controlling who? And which one are you? This is Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to episode 57 of Paradigm Shift Radio. On this community roundtable episode, we welcomed on my good friends Spirit and Justin as we discuss themes related to awareness of the vibrations we are putting out with our own voice and thoughts, and how this affects what comes back to us, and becoming more aware of our own mind. Justin leads us through a great guided meditation, and afterwards we welcomed on more of our friends to chat about expanding our perception by watching stars on a mountain, literally and metaphorically. Tune in for future episodes of Paradigm Shift Radio, and be sure to keep sharing the show and telling others about it as the project continues to evolve. Join facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio and enjoy the show. March on. Do not tarry. Go forward is to move toward perfection. March on and fear not the thorns or the sharp stones on life's paths, because all that is gold does not glitter, and not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither, deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken, a light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be the blade that was broken, and the crownless again shall be king. This is Skull Babylon, aka Brendon, aka Skull the Wolf, and you're tuned in for another exciting episode of Paradigm Shift Radio, broadcasting to you live at a different time than what we traditionally do it as. We are working with the Sunday evening 9 p.m. EST time slot right now. So shout out to everybody who may be tuning into the show who otherwise would not be able to. Traditionally, we do have our show on Saturday nights at 11 p.m., which is really an interesting time to see who is able to make it out live at that period. But we figure, we want to be able to expand our reach. We want to be able to get in touch with more people. So moving it to this time slot, which potentially, based on how everything goes this weekend, we'll be holding again for next week. And we got another awesome show lined up for next week. And I'll mention what we got lined up for that a little bit later. But what we got lined up for tonight, guys, is another community open, like another open community roundtable discussion. So this is another awesome chance for everybody to be able to call in, who's been wanting to call in, or maybe listening to the show for the very first time. And what are the things that we talk about here on the show? Well, Paradigm Shift Radio is all about expanding consciousness. And the simple way I explain it is that it's really about practicing talking about the things that we don't usually get a chance to talk about. So it's not about like one single ideal or anything like that. Paradigm Shift itself is a space. It is a sandbox. It is a place where anyone can show up and get involved and make new friends. And that's a big part about what this community building project is. It's really a chance for us to be able to connect with each other, to be able to make new friends, and to be able to say like, hey, this is cool. We should take this a step further and collaborate and start creating together, both physically and digitally. So ParadigmShift.com is the main website if you have not checked that out, because Paradigm Shift Radio is a branch of Paradigm Shift Central. There are many branches, and Paradigm Shift Central itself is a hub for a global collective of communities all across the world who are working together to bring more consciousness into this world, and more love and positivity and open-mindedness, and again, building community. And the main website right now, as it is under construction. You can go to the front page, and you can still browse around a bit, but just keep in mind that it is under construction, and that's because I'm upgrading the website, and I'll get into a little bit of detail about what that will entail, but that's going to be setting things in place for the next phase of the Paradigm Shift project, you can call it that, and that will be moving more towards coherent communication, and I want people to be able to continuously get involved with the idea that they can start a Paradigm Shift community in their area. So we're going to make that easier for people to do. We're going to make that more accessible. Essentially, a big part of what I approach a lot of this paradigm shifty stuff with is the idea of trying to make information more accessible. And that's something you should keep in mind too. You might have a lot of cool discussions about lucid dreaming and like UFOs and like energy and all that sort of interesting stuff, but what good is it if we can't make it accessible to other people? We are in the process of this information that has, up until, fairly recently in a lot of cases, been underneath the surface, has been esoteric. And now that information is coming back up to the surface. And again, that is the type of conversation that we're going to be encouraging here tonight on the show. So if anybody wants to call in, please feel free to do so. You can use Skype. And the best way to do that, I believe you have to have a Blog Talk Radio account. So if you're on Blog Talk, take a couple seconds, make an account. Get Skype if you don't already have Skype. Everybody should have Skype by now. And then click the Skype icon in the live chat next to the host number. And then Skype will say, does it want to call in? Click OK. Click 1 on the keypad, and you're good to go. And it's awesome. Or you can actually call in with a regular telephone, and the number to call in for that is 347-539-5493. Again, that's area code 347-539-5493. One second, because I do think I got a buddy here who is going to be coming on to the show fairly early. I just want to make sure everything is A-okay with him. Just getting a drink of water here. One second, guys. But yeah, of course, guys, huge shout out to everybody who is joining us live tonight, and bonus shout out to those of you who are in the live chat. Give you guys some data back. We have 25 users in the live chat, and I'm sure we got plenty more who are listening in live. And of course, we encourage everybody to get involved with the live chat. And a special, special instructions for everybody who's in the live chat. Those of you who tune into Paradigm Shift Radio know this is kind of a common thing. If at any point you would like to connect with more people, post your Facebook profile. And if you post your Facebook profile in the live chat, basically you are saying, I put out an invitation for anybody to add me within this live chat who sees this link, and, you know, we can talk after the show or whatever. So, guys, if you're in the live chat and you want to do that, now's the time. Post your profile links into the live chat, and any other links you might have, too. And guys who are reading it, guys and girls, you know, I use that term sort of just ambiguously, but of course, get involved with that and get connected with each other, and that's a huge part about what the show really is. So, so we do have my buddy. He's gonna join us on the air here, and this is my good buddy Spirit Namaste Plant. I mean, that's what his name is on Facebook. He goes by many names, as do many of us, and we're gonna bring him on. And there's a couple things I do want to mention. I do want to talk about, but it will be good to be able to share these ideas that I have with Spirit. So, Spirit, if you're ready, we're gonna bring you onto the show, and of course, this is just to re-emphasize, this is my buddy Spirit from within my own Paradigm Shift community, which is Paradigm Shift London, Ontario, Canada, facebook.com/Paradigm Shift London. So anybody else in London, Ontario, Canada, feel free to get in touch with us. And Spirit, with that said, we're going to bring you live onto the air for Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello.
Hi, Brendon.
Hello. Yes. Hello, Spirit. Can you hear me?
Do I sound all right? I can hear you fine.
Okay. Can you go ahead, say something? You sound a little hollow. Like, can you get closer to the mic, maybe?
I'm a little bit closer to the mic now. How's that?
That's a bit better. Folks in the live chat, does Spirit need to be closer to the mic than that? Like, just, if you can, without being too uncomfortable, it just sounds like you got a little bit quieter mic. And there's a little bit of static, but we'll make do. So.
Yeah, it's my laptop. It's just the mic that's built in, so hopefully people will be able to hear me clearly.
All right, okay, so for everybody who is listening, please forgive the background noise of Spirit's laptop. That's us working with the technology that we got, but the data still comes through, and it's our job as like a metadata process to even like filter out any additional noise. So I mean, what's a little, you know, the content will resonate. So that's pretty much how it works here. And of course, Spirit, welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio. Good to have you on, buddy.
Thank you for having me. It's kind of funny that because I came on tonight to talk about the power of our words, the power of speaking. So it's a little bit funny that my words are a little bit muffled or hard to understand. I wanted to go ahead.
No. Keep talking. Go ahead.
What I wanted to talk about today was just exactly what we do when we speak. What are our words and how powerful they are, as well as what it is to visualize something and to manifest it, and how these two things are so closely connected to each other. So,
go on.
Any time that we're speaking, our words are very powerful. When we open our mouths, we create sound, and the sound itself that we create is a vibration. And as many listeners in the Paradigm community would know, that everything in this universe is based off of sound and vibration. The planets are vibrating, we're vibrating, our cells are vibrating. So when I speak a word, I'm creating a vibration. I'm making a conscious choice to vibrate in a certain way. And so it's very important to choose the words that we say to each other, because we're choosing how we are going to affect the other person with vibration. We often say things, you'll hear people say, do you know what I hate? Do you know what I don't like? do you want to know the worst thing that happened to me? And the first thing that comes to my head is no. No, I don't want to hear that, because it is such a dense and low vibration to be speaking about it. And it goes into visualizing. Do you visualize all the things you hate? Do you visualize what you don't want to happen? It's like a lot of people set up a dream board of things that they want to have in their lives. And when they set these up, they'll put a picture of a dog, a picture of a house that they want to own, maybe trips that they want to go on. But you don't often see people putting up all these negative things on their dream boards. But that's what we do inside of our heads every day. We're setting up these negative things inside of our heads, and then some of us are even taking them and putting them back out there. And it affects us in such a powerful way that, for example, someone who's looking to lose weight, they might see themselves as overweight, and they could say that, like, I'm fat or I have trouble losing weight. Well, if they go out and they tell someone else, you know what, I have weight issues, I have trouble losing weight. Now, I've said that to one person. Now 2 people think that I have trouble losing weight. If I tell that to 30 people believe that I have trouble losing weight. So now not only do I have to conquer my own energy to change my own mind, but when I'm around these other people, when I'm trying to lose weight, they're visualizing me having weight problems. They're visualizing me having trouble.
That's a really interesting point. Yeah. Like just to expand on that, if you don't mind me jumping in here, I think what you're saying is really cool. Because it's it's a good reminder, first of all, but I when I was taking what you're saying into context, I just instantly think of the exact opposite and how that can be used as an incredibly positive fact, like a scenario, an equation that unfolds. Because I mean, it's almost like every person who we express a belief to, if we reflect ourselves in them, that it's creating a pillar within our environment that sort of creates the structure for like how our reality structures itself, like what it builds upon. So I mean, like you said, if you tell everybody that you got weight problems, then those pillars are like what you're living within. And in the same way, if you start connecting with people like super positively, and you're just like, yo man, like we're riding that wave, like we're having a good time. It's nothing but like smiles and positivity. Like ain't no such thing as boredom over here. Like we're the kind of folk who like to like stare up at the moon and sit under trees and get stuff done and relax and have fun. So I mean, if you can surround yourself with good, like positive people who a lot of these people are going to be people who are already listening to this radio show. I'm sure people here like know exactly what that vibe is like, or at least looking for more of that vibe. So I mean, that's the big thing, is that if we can bring that positivity from within us and then in place that, reflect that in another person, and then they become another pillar, not only are we like building pillars for our own house, but like we're building pillars for like this bigger building, like this bigger like structure. I think of like a Roman Colosseum of something, of like awesome community and stuff, just Greek architecture wise. But yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying, eh? Just like,
yeah, absolutely. You nailed it right there. That's exactly what I'm saying. And it does work in that way. Like, for example, if you tell someone, don't be late for the job interview, you've given them an opportunity to visualize themselves being late for the job interview. But if you were to say to them, be on time for the job interview, you've given them an opportunity to visualize being on time for that job interview. And
go ahead.
You go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. Well, okay. Well, no, I was just going to say, it's good, again, going back to the idea that we want to make this information accessible, and there's common things that some of us are quite familiar with. It's almost like ingrained into our instruction manual or something. But for a lot of people, I mean, first of all, they were never given the instruction manual. So, I mean, for those of us who have like been writing our own, it helps when we share it. But one of the simple things that I remember or bring into my attention is the idea that the universe doesn't understand it doesn't understand like when you say, and this is the most obvious example, and again, just reiterating what you're saying, if you're sick and you want to get healthy, don't say, I don't want to be sick. Rather, you say, I want to be healthy. So, I mean, just because when you say, I don't want to be sick, like that negative connotation there, like that's, the universe doesn't pick up on that, and it just hears, I want to be sick, I want to be sick, I want to be sick. So, I mean, again, like, people, feel free to repeat that example. I just think it's a really straightforward example, and yeah, like that, again, like, Spirit, you understand that, right? I mean, I'm trying to, I'm sure we've had a conversation about that at some point, but do you agree with that the universe doesn't understand the concept of no, or language-wise?
Yeah, it doesn't understand, like, inside of our minds, our brains here, is the same as that board that we put on our wall. And we only should put on that wall the things that we desire to have. Because as soon as you start, whatever goes on that wall, you're going to get there. And now, I'm someone who's dealt with anxiety and depression in my life. And a lot of that was the visualization. I'm an anxious person. I'm a depressed person. And in doing that, you know, I made that true. I visualized that. You know, right. We have like a preconceived notion of what is an anxious person, what is a depressed person, right? So it even goes deeper. It's not just, you don't just stop saying like I'm not a depressed person or whatever, because when you start doing that, I'm not anxious, I'm not angry, I'm not depressed, you're actually just arguing with yourself.
Yeah.
When you can realize that you're in a state of depression or anxiety or anger, and you can recognize that, then you're in a state of awareness. And when you're in a state of awareness, you're in a conscious state that you can change. So at any time, then I can change to be a person that doesn't suffer from anxiety or depression. I'm a healthful person. I think positive thoughts about myself. I see positive possibilities and positive outcomes for what's going to happen. And I think one thing just about anxiety and depression is it's really just not being conscious in the present moment. Depression is, you know, thinking about past events. So we often look at something that we've done and we feel shame about it, or we feel, you know, pain or suffering. But what we can do is we can look at that event and we can change consciously now what we think about that event. How did that affect us? And can I think about that differently now? And then all of a sudden you're not depressed because you've changed what happened in your past. It's like time traveling. I've actually went back into my past and rearranged it so that in my now moment, I don't have this heaviness, this burden that I carry around. And then anxiety is the opposite. It's going in the other direction. Where people are worried about the future. But what is there to worry about? You can't actually know it or see it. The future is just going to be a conscious now moment where you can make a decision. I like to say, like, a job interview is probably the best example. If you have a job interview coming up, people get stressed out. They get nervous. They don't know what the person is going to ask them. You know what? There can be like a million questions, an infinite amount of questions that an employee could ask you. But if I were to ask you to write down 1,000 questions, you couldn't do it. If I asked you to write down 100 questions, you know it's going to be very difficult to do. Once you start getting 10 or 12 questions, you're going to be like, wow, like this is a lot of questions that they could ask me. And you realize that they're not that big. But what we can do, because we're not there, we're not at that interview, we're still here right now thinking about it. It's not even happening to us. We're worrying about something that those millions of questions, our brain is firing off billions of operations a second. So it's going to give you a billion negative events and maybe 10 million positive events, and we get to choose which ones we're going to accept into our now moment, and that's going to create our feelings and our vibration. So it's about, you know, so there's this place that we're stuck between, you know, what did I do and what am I going to do? But really, none of that is happening. And if you're right now, I'm talking to you. I could be concerned about what you're thinking about me, what you might say next, but I'm not. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say and what I'm going to do, because I'm making the conscious decision to speak in a clear manner and to make something clear so people can understand.
Yeah,
And if
like
I were
we got to
focus on that, I'd drift away.
Yeah, we gotta master our domain. Is just like another way that I sort of refer to myself. And that was actually, if you guys listened at the beginning, and I gave off the quote there, that was actually two quotes back to back that I thought felt nicely, and that was a Khalil Gibran. I probably didn't pronounce his name right. He's an author. He wrote The Prophet? Was that what he wrote? I haven't read that. Somebody was telling me about it the other day, though. And the other quote was by J.R.R. Tolkien, but, well, technically it was by Gandalf. Technically it was by Gandalf when he, like, wrote it in a book, and then Aragorn was reading it at the Prancing Pony. I think that's how it worked. I think. But anyways, what I was going to say, in that original quote, it was talking, because I first read it, I'm like, is this relevant? But then, like, the last line when it said, renewed shall be the blade that was broken, the crownless again shall be king. So, renewed shall be the blade that was broken, the crownless again shall be king. To me, this really spoke to me, because this is about, like, becoming our own sovereign being, like, reclaiming our domain, reclaiming our kingdomship of our kingdom. And that goes into the idea that, the 17th chapter of St. Luke says that the kingdom of heaven is within men, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, you the people. Charlie Chaplin, the great speech. Dictator. You guys probably would have heard that on the last episode if you tuned in. But again, like I just thought that was a really cool metaphor, because to me, mastering your domain really is just being about taking more conscious control of A, your words, and B, your thoughts. And I personally like the idea of visioning, to be able to really like project our thoughts into the future, and to be able to go through what you're saying. Oftentimes people will look at the future with anxiety, but if you can approach perceiving the future as just like this potential, and it's just like looking into a virtual reality machine, and just being honest with your own abilities, and then being able to like envision the different paths. For me, like, that's like a great way to prepare oneself, and to be able to like choose more consciously like which direction can go in. And for me, I do that a lot with my work. Website, like the website is very much this. It's not so much me just like figuring out on the fly as much as like visioning way ahead and say like, this is what it's going to be close or similar to, and that's the direction I'm going to start moving towards. So sorry, Spirit, I just muted you because with you talking, your mic was just like more noticeable, I found, at least from my perspective, but maybe not for the audience. But I'll bring you back on, and I got some other awesome stuff that I want to talk about based on my experiences in the last couple of days, and it has to do with, I'll just mention it real quick. Okay, little tiny bugs that float around in the sky in front of you, and they look like DNA strands. We'll talk about that later. And I was also going to talk about the drum circle experience, and I have this theory. It's a theory, but I think it can be repeated, that the vibrations from the drum circle that we were doing in Victoria Park, that happens every Saturday in London, Ontario, Victoria Park at around 2 to 3 p.m. or 2 to 4 p.m., and check that out. But with this drum circle, it's just really positive. And my observation, and I wasn't the only one who noticed this, is like other intuitive older lady, she noticed it too. And it was basically like these crazy cloud formations that were above us, and we were just like, hey, I think we're doing that, because it wasn't, from where the clouds were coming from, it didn't look like that, but it was like over top of us, and there was like these crazy, like as if the clouds had been sort of like stretched out, like in strands, as if you're taking like a handful of cotton candy and pulling it, and then sort of doing that over top of itself, and it looked like it was like being like hit by vibrations. So again, we can talk about that, but that's the idea going into this, vibrations are everything. And okay, just one final point, and I'll bring Spirit back on, and I'll bring Justin, but because this is like a kind of a paradigm shifting moment for me. The other day when I was thinking about the cloud thing, I was like, wait a second, like this universe, it's very, very practical. It has things in place for a reason, for it to be able to see itself within it. Consciousness is a mirror test. It's for us to be able to see ourselves in our surroundings. And when I thought about that, I'm like, well, maybe the sky itself exists in part for us to be able to take notice of when our energetic bubbles are actually doing something to our surroundings. So back in like tribal times and stuff like that, they would like look at the sky, see what was happening in the clouds, and see that as like a reflection of some of like their own bubble. And sometimes if your bubble's bigger, it's going to have more of an effect on a cloud. So, guys in the live chat, what do you guys think of that? Is that just too out there? Is that too paradigm shifty? Have we gone off the edge yet? Not even close. Okay, Spirit, I'm going to bring you back on. Here we go.
All
Spirit,
right.
What do you think?
I totally agree with that, and it's actually why I wanted to call in early, because vibration is an excellent segue into everything.
Into everything.
Into everything. So, as I was saying, like, when I speak to another person, you know, the way that I speak is creating a vibration. But this vibration affects all people, all things. This is why, you know, our modern science shows the benefits of talking to our plants when we grow them, and our flowers and our food, and what happens to them. You know, there's an interaction caused by both our heart and our physical words themselves coming out. So it's, you know, it seems supernatural, but to someone who's practiced it and understands it, I would just be like, yeah, that's what's happening right there. You know, so it's, again, it goes to your own level of awareness. How aware are you of the words you're using or what you're creating? And another thing about the words we're using is even the simple choices in the words, often using words like you and I instead of we and one. Because if I say, you need to do this in order to do something, then it becomes extremely personal. And a person thinks you're speaking directly about them, and they can become offended quite easily. And a lot of conversations go downhill very quickly because of this. But when you can speak in such a way that you can say, you know, if one were to practice this, this is what they may gain, then nobody takes offense to that, because anyone could be practicing that. But as soon as we say, if you practice this, this is what you might get, then you're instantly, you know, it triggers something within us. And it's really interesting. I was talking about not sending out negative energies and that, but I even said to you when I was speaking about anxiety, it was like you couldn't write, you know, 1,000 questions. And as soon as I had said that, I was aware that I was like, oh, I just told you that you couldn't do something. And that's what we tell people. Yeah, exactly. Well, I can say these things all day long. I'm like, you can't run this show. You can't change the community, but you do it anyway. Why? Because you're consciously aware of what you're hearing and what you're doing. But people get caught in a state of they're just hearing these things all day long. And I was like that. I was hearing these things. I was thinking these things. I was thinking the things that I couldn't do. I was hearing the things I couldn't do. And then I started to question them. Can't I do that? Why can't I? Because you haven't? Because someone else hasn't done it? But every single new idea, every single new invention comes from somewhere. It comes from something. It comes from somebody thinking something different, thinking outside of the box, you know? And it takes a brave person to do that, because you'll get ridiculed. You know, people will say, you know, you're crazy or that's insane. But, you know, that can be the truth. It was insane that the world was round.
Yeah, they're just saying that's too insane for me right now. I haven't shifted my paradigm just yet. Just give me a few minutes here, and then you go back to them, and then because I've seen that happen where somebody will be like, you know, like, whoa, that's crazy, get out of my face, and then like a couple months later they're like, yo, so I was reading up some stuff. Isn't like this what you were talking about? And I'm just like, yeah, man, cool. And then you sort of go from there, kind of thing. But Spirit, I'll just let you finish off that thought, and then let's bring Justin on. We got Justin from Paradigm Shift London, who's going to be joining us in a minute. So, Spirit, do you have anything else to say, or if not, we can just...
I don't think I really need to add anything right now. I'd love to
we're keeping
Justin
you on the air.
And see what he has to say. Yeah, I'll sit around here and talk. Let's bring Justin in.
Cool. All right, so we're going to bring Justin on, and we do have a couple other people who are in queue, so guys, just stay tight. We aren't in a rush right now, so, I mean, we still got 90 minutes left in the show. Been an awesome show so far. I'm having fun. Hope you guys are having fun. And just before I bring Justin on, for some reason I may not have mentioned at the beginning of the show. I know I mentioned the main website, but facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio. If you haven't liked out the Facebook page, please do that. And youtube.com/Skull Babylon is where you can find my movies, including the link for the Journey to Lucidity movie movie, which is a full-length movie, and I encourage you guys to check that out after you've listened to the show and when you have the time to do that. So we're going to bring Justin onto the air, and Justin is another person within the Paradigm Shift London community. So myself, Spirit, and Justin, we've all met in person numerous times. Justin's been around for a while, and I know he's always interested in talking about dream exploration and lucid dreaming and how that relates to everything else. So those of you who are in the live chat, just sort of get ready for that. We may be going in that direction. So Justin, if you're ready, we're going to bring you onto the air. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello, Justin.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It sounds clear.
Yeah, it sounds clear. Cool.
Cool.
Awesome,
All right, man. Well, yeah, what would you like to bring to the show?
I want to ask Spirit a question. I guess I can include you too, Brendon, because this is something that I've been really, now that it's a long weekend and I've had some time to really relax and try to re-examine myself. Anytime I get spare time, I like to try to create a inner revolution in a way that I'm change the way that I look at things on a very regular basis. So one thing that I've been really trying to quite ponder upon is this question, because I think it's a common... Whoa. What happened to that noise?
No, go ahead. Yeah,
that
was me muting Spirit. So
don't mute Spirit. No, keep him.
Well, I don't want it. I'll intuitively unmute him when you're not.
So
talking.
Basically, one thing that I've been kind of trying to ponder and reflect upon is this subject that is really hard to probe into. It's so hard. You always hear it. People talk about it, like a lot of spiritually advanced people talk about it, this idea that we are the observer behind the mind who witnesses the mind, but yet we are not the thoughts. The thoughts are not us, so to speak. But trying to actively even take on that and try to experience it, like in a essentially meditation, this is what it's called, trying to be the observer behind thoughts rather than thinking that we are our own thoughts. And I've been really, really trying to probe into this one, but I want to ask you in Spirit, because I think it's a really common subject it splits most spiritual people or call themselves spiritual in half, like it's 50-50 down the line.
Do you want to just reiterate? Go ahead, ask your question, but I just want you to kind of reiterate what you said, like even just a little bit shorter.
Okay. The question will kind of bring it all together is, can I trust my habitual mind, or do I need to look beneath it? Because when like I'm really, really trying to intensely observe my own mind, I discover I have no control over it. Yet I believe it's me, and it's the thing that makes all the choices in my life. Yet I can realize, at least at first, that I have absolutely no control over it. This is like something I'm trying to explore and understand, but it requires, like, I don't know, it's one of those tough ones. So I'd like to hear, Spirit, your perspective, because I know you're avid observer of the mind as well.
Yeah. I'll add in my 2 cents, but let's get Spirit in here. So Spirit, go ahead. Okay, Spirit, you're back.
That's a great question, Justin.
Spirit, just move a little bit closer to the mic, just a bit.
That's a great question, Justin. And I would say that we are not the mind, but as you said, we are observing the mind. The mind itself is a part of us. And now this is where people get a little lost, because I'm saying that I am not the mind, but the mind is a part of me. But the mind itself is not to control me, but something that I can program. It's like if you have... The mind itself is very limited. It can only do certain functions. It does a lot of functions for our body behind the scenes, like it's running our breathing, it's running our heart pumping, our blood flowing, as well as thoughts. But the thoughts themselves that move through us and move through the mind are preconceived. They're conditioned to work that way. So if we observe the mind, we can observe how we've been conditioned. So what we would see at any point is, you would have your first thought, I hate Eggo waffles. Why do I hate Eggo waffles? I hate Eggo waffles because when I was 7 years old, I bit into one and it was still cold in the middle, and I really didn't like that texture, And so do I hate Eggo waffles, or did I have an experience that is now in my limited mind, and now in this present moment again, I have the choice again to try Eggo waffles and to see if I enjoy them or not. So to say that I am my thoughts, like, people have all types of thoughts. We would have thoughts, if someone's hurt you in the past and they come to you and they say something that hurts you, you might think that you want to kick them in the face and rip out their flesh, And this is true. This is what we think. This goes through our head. But that's not us. That's a conditioning that's happened to us because of the experience we've had. So we can also condition the mind in other ways. I love strawberries. Why do I love strawberries? Because, they're sweet, they're tasty. I've eaten them since I was little. I've had so much fun eating strawberries. I love to pick them in fields, But do I love strawberries? It's my choice in the now moment to say that I love strawberries. Like right now, I could hate strawberries. I could love strawberries. I could hate Eggo waffles. And these
Eggo
are
waffles?
They're Eggo waffles. Yeah, this is exactly
you enjoy your
Eggo
waffles for breakfast.
And that's what we're having right now. It's an Eggo waffle, right? We're getting waffled by
we're eating all these waffles of ego. Waffles, like as in waft? Well, that word doesn't make sense to me anymore. I'm just like a waft of wind. We're just getting wafts of ego, all these ego waffles.
And it's like that, though, if you're speaking about wind, and it's like it's moving through us. So we're walking, and these thoughts flow into us. And then, as an observer, we can act on it. We can say, I like how that was conditioned inside of me because it makes me feel good, and continue doing that.
Like feeds, like serotonin levels, that's why people get addicted to stuff. Like even watching porn. People get addicted to porn because they get addicted to like the serotonin levels that are excreted like during that process and stuff like that. So, yeah. It can be a difficult thing. It takes a lot of willpower to not give I guess some people have addicted personalities, or I mean maybe that's an excuse. Maybe that's an excuse they tell themselves. But I like the idea that it takes like willpower to not be addicted to something, even something as simple as like chocolate or whatever. But sorry, Spirit, I cut you off there. Finish your thought, and then I'll talk about waffles. Go ahead, Spirit.
Okay. So as I was saying, the mind itself isn't us. It's a tool for us to condition. And the question is, who is conditioning your mind? Is your mind being conditioned by television, by news radio, by your friends? Is it being conditioned by social media? Or is it being conditioned by your own observation? And it's when, even then, the mind is still there. It's still going to say things or see things, but it can only see in this limited perspective. But what separates us from our mind is our actions. And we can take any action. I can hate Eggo waffles, but I can eat them right now because I have taken an action that is different than my mind. So we are totally separate from the mind if we are aware of it, and if we are aware of the conditioning of the mind. I like to think of the mind and the body as a horse and a jockey. The horse being the mind and the body being the jockey. Now, you have an opportunity to ride your horse and win the race, or you have the opportunity to fall off your horse and be trampled to death. And it's awful to be trampled by the horse of the mind.
Can I jump in here, Spirit?
Absolutely.
So this is actually what the origins of the symbolic representation of the centaur is, because we're so confused as to the functionality of the mind that we believe we are the horse. We're a half horse, half we're centaur, dude. We believe, you know, the animal side of us, the mind, is running along, controlling the whole thing. Well, we, the centaur, the upper half, believe we're, you know, but we're like stuck. We think the mind is us and us is the mind. I think a really good way of, I've heard it described, is kind of like viewing what we call the mind nowadays, they would call like the brain. The brain being the physical tool that's used. So like it basically breaks down stimulus. So if someone walks in front of me, or like any sort of interaction from the exterior world, my brain's function is to deduce that into information, and then like it tells me, you know, person walks in front of me and I react this way, right? But it's really interesting, like when you start to, you know, even if it's just with the edge of a blade, to like create that separation just for a moment, like between observer and observed. It's really interesting when you start to play with it. It's almost like you start to realize the consciousness, or the, I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but it's kind of like the difference I find in between most individuals that are like actively interested in spirituality and people that are more passively interested in spirituality. It's hard to explain, but
well, I think one thing that's interesting about the centaur is that it's together. So there's no separation there. Do you know what I mean? You've got both the horse and the man together. So when you see that, you're in this state of duality. You're stuck there battling the horse or the human part of you. You can't see both of them. But when you've taken them apart, you can see that there's two different things there. There's a man and there's a horse. And like, which one are you? Are you the man or the animal? And even the manimal. Itself, the manimal. Some people are. They know they're halfway in between. You know, we've got animals and we've got manimals, and we have man walking around, and you know, it's all happening all at once. But
man, bear, pigs. Yeah.
Is about like our breath. If we breathe and we focus on our breath, that focus actually silences our thoughts. So if you're focusing on your breath, then are you the mind? Because then there's no more thoughts. What happened to it? Did you kill your horse? Where did your horse go? You're just a jockey walking around observing things now without conditioning. You know, you can completely leave your horse behind. Now, to completely free yourself of the horse, you would have to be in a meditative state, nirvana, bliss, right? You would be consciously aware all day long that the only thing that's happening is what you're observing and nothing else. Whereas the horse will tell you this is happening or that's happening based on what the horse has seen before. Whereas the horse is kind of like our memory, like it sees or it's going to guess and everything. But the horse isn't very intelligent. It doesn't really know. It doesn't know from the past. We believe we know. We believe we know that we dislike things or like things based on, and that's like the matrix, right? We create our belief systems. We create what we like and what we dislike, and we put that all on our horse. And then you have to differentiate that. You have to differentiate, am I making a decision right now based on my thoughts? Are my thoughts making a decision based on their conditioning? And so an important thing to do is to be in the moment, to take a breath. People say, calm down and take a breath, right? When you get worked up in an argument, you start saying things and people are just reacting because everyone stopped breathing. In that state, their heart's pounding, their blood's flowing, their breath is shorter, so they're thinking more. They're less focused on their breath, they're more mind-focused, mind-centered, and that's when a lot of that kind of thing comes out, a lot of the anger and aggression towards each other in conversation. But that can also be separated by literally taking a breath, taking a moment to, you know, calm down what's racing through. Like I said earlier, you know, you've got billions, trillions of operations per second happening in there, and they're just firing off so fast that, you know, it's extremely difficult to control. And the only control mechanism that we have as men and women to do that is our breath. Our breath is, our link between the two things. It's the connector and the separator. And it's, again, our choice. Like, we live in a zone of free will. Everything that we do is based on choice. So we have a choice to, listen to our thoughts or listen to our heart. To be in conditioning or to be in openness, to be in what's happening right now. Like, when you take a breath, if you're arguing with your friend over, this radio show or some game you guys were playing, or what movie you're going to see, then, you're just in this state of conditioning that you want this or they want that. But when you take a breath and you realize, like, what am I doing? I'm standing here right now yelling at my friend and he's yelling at me. How productive is this? What am I doing? Like, could I be doing this better? And that's when you have an opportunity to change what you're doing. You can change what you're doing at any time, but you can only change what you're doing if you are aware.
Yeah, you have to have that awareness of awareness. So,
and the problem, I think, as well...
I was just going to jump in. I just wanted to have a couple thoughts on the top of my tongue. Like, awareness of awareness is kind of a way to think about, because, I mean, again, like, we're talking about the mind, we're talking about, like, our conscious, like, actions and what we're doing. I think it's it was really interesting the other day when I was at the drum circle, because I think the drum circle is an excellent place to be able to practice. Sorry, Spirit, I'm just muting you just because of your background noise. But the drum circle is an excellent place to practice meditation, because what we can control with our mind is where the focus of it is at any given moment, ultimately. And what we have, so again, there's our body, and then there's where our focus is, and then there's our awareness of where our focus is. So when we were doing, like, the drum circle, it was really interesting because, like, you can close your eyes, and I was actually doing this, close your eyes and meditate in a drum circle, and you can really take the time to shift your focus all the way around the drum circle, one by one, to each person, to be able to, like, listen more acutely to what rhythm it is that they are producing with their instrument at that time. And just try this if you ever get this opportunity. And it's just a really cool thing to do. And it's just amazing because when you think about it, obviously if someone would just go in there for the first time and try that for the first time, there would probably just be like this huge wave of noise, and it would be very hard for them to differentiate. But with someone who practices this more and more, if they were to be familiar with the practice of meditation and the practice of choosing where to put your focus, they would just be able to decipher the individual notes of the music that is being created by the individuals, like, all through the circle and stuff. So I think, again, awareness of awareness, being aware of where your focus is at that time, kind of going back to what Justin was saying, like, there's, like, multiple levels of what's going on. Like, we're not just our body, we're not just our mind, and we're not just our body and our mind. There's more to it. So, Justin, did you want to say something?
Yeah, well, the thing I wanted to say is the problem I find as well is that, all this stuff, the intellectual ideas we have about creating a separation in the mind. You were using the mind fundamentally to think about these ideas, and that's where my problem has come, like, that I notice in every individual, and myself especially. And this is kind of why I've been pondering it the whole weekend is, I have these intellectual ideas, but, like, do you practice it? How often do you practice it? Like, really, it's easy to speak knowledge, but wisdom practiced is much different. And, like, yeah, it's really tough. I think a part of communication that I'm starting to learn is that, take, for example, when you ring a bell. If you ring a bell, it makes a ding noise, and it lasts for a while. As it fades away, the whole sound, it resonates much longer and has much more profound effect if there's a space in between. It gives the person a chance to like kind of process it in their brain before the next idea. And you can learn this very fast if you practice mantras with meditation, if you chant mantras. But, I mean, yeah, it's just so funny because we're used to constantly being perpetually stimulated, and we never give ourselves a chance to let it sink in. And I think that that's a big problem in a lot of the paradigm shift group meetings and speaking in general that happens in our society, is like really having a time to pause and let it sink in, rather than just like, saying, oh yeah, and then I have this really good idea, and then there's this good idea and this good idea, and the person's like, whoa man, slow down, like this is too much, like this guy knows too much, there's too much truth coming out of his mouth, so I think, yeah, although like it seems strange in our society because we're afraid of silence, in the same way it like reflects onto the mind, like we're afraid of the mind being silent. Like we always want to fill a gap. We look at silence as awkward, and whenever there's space in mind, there isn't anymore. Like we've programmed ourselves to always fill something, and we've always got to be filling a hole here, there, everywhere. But it's just such a tough topic to really like get into, because being able to come to the realization, can I trust my habitual mind, or do I need to look beneath it? This is a tough one. Like it's easy to think it or say like, hey, that sounds deep, man. But to actually like take that question on and live it, rather than to try to find an answer or ask a question, to live the question, is it useful to trust my habitual mind, or do I need to look beneath it? I don't know. That was really all I felt like I wanted to come on and say, but I'm curious. Every time I bounce something off of you or Spirit, it seems to come out in a nice way. So what do you guys think?
Okay, well, let me bring Spirit on there, and let me just before we do that, I was just going to say we're getting close to the top of the hour of the show, and here on Paradigm Shift Radio, we do group meditations, usually once an episode. Justin, do you plan on sticking around for a bit? Because I mean, you've led several group meditations within Paradigm, and I always appreciate the style that you bring. How do you feel about doing something similar on the show tonight?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, cool. All right, Spirit, I'm going to bring you on to the air just to respond to what Justin was saying there. So.
All right.
Spirit?
I think actually both of you said something that tied in with the very beginning of the show again, the vibration of sound and what it does. And I think what Justin said really stuck with me. When you ring a bell, you hear the sound, but the sound slowly fades away because it resonates for a lot longer. And the words that we use and the way that we speak to each other, they're very sweet or very bitter. But if they're spoke to another person, they'll resonate for a lot longer. So the people, like if you go around thinking that every time you speak to someone, you're ringing that bell, you're giving them an idea or a thought, but then that thought is still there. Once you don't see them, it's still resonating with them. And also what you had said about the drum circle, like as our voice and our emotions create sound and vibration, so are the instruments at the drum circle. So going into a drum circle and sitting there and closing your eyes and not looking at what people are seeing or doing, but listening and feeling it, feel the bass, of the big drum, feel the tenor of the tambourine, feel what's happening instead of just listening to what's happening. There's a lot more going on under the surface. We see something or we hear something, but we can also feel something. And a lot of people, they don't want to talk about their emotions. They don't want to see things at an emotional level. But our thoughts that we're having are impacting us on an emotional level. The words that we speak to each other impact me and you on an emotional level. When I say something sweet to you, you feel good. I would hope you would feel good. if I said something in a sour way, you feel bad. You're going to walk away being like, why did this person treat me this way? And, that's me conditioning your mind with my words. I'm offering something for you to think about. And then I don't know how your mind is going to observe that. So when we communicate, we have to be careful because, even when we say things that we think we're being funny and we're making jokes, we don't know what's happened in another individual's lifetime. And that joke, which may seem like fun and games to you, they may laugh at and they may giggle at, but you may have made that person extremely uncomfortable because we don't really know each other, in total completeness that way. So that just goes to like the vibration of our sounds and our thoughts, our emotions, and how it's all intertwined, and how this movement is going to be like a movement of communication. A lot of the problems we have globally is the way we communicate with each other. We've been trying to do it in a forceful way, like trying to force each other to speak the way we speak or to think the way we think, instead of just quieting ourselves and seeing like, how do we feel about something? How did hearing that make me feel? Like, how do you feel when you say something? Like, if you say something that is intentfully hurtful, how do you feel inside when you do that? You just intended to hurt somebody. Inside of you, like, was it your mind? Were you just saying something because you were conditioned to say that you had a bad experience with that person, so you saw them, and that's immediately what you wanted to do? You were like, I have to scorn this person that hurt me. But that person, just like you, do you want to live your life walking around thinking that people want to intentfully hurt you? Because if you walk around intentfully wanting to hurt people, that's the way you're going to think. And if you think that, how are you going to have positive experiences with people? We can only see ourselves. So, and people, when they speak, they'll tell you exactly what they're thinking. Like I said earlier, like, I have weight issues or I don't have weight issues. I'm ripped. I'm not ripped. I can't get rid of these love handles. They're all images we think about ourselves, and people just say them out loud. And an observant person, you can know the emotional and mental state of another person by just being observant, by being relaxed, by being calm, and being aware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think something that came to mind when you just mentioned that, and then let's make our way into the meditation. But take notice of your heart, the actual sensations that you get out of it, because our heart is this like natural response mechanism, and if there's like times where we do that, where we do something and after it happens, there's a part of us that just says like, wait, like that didn't feel right. Like I don't really think I did like the most kind thing there, or something like that. And it could be something as simple as like not holding the door open for someone when you could have held the door open for them. Like what was it worth for you to take that extra second? Yet for some reason you didn't. I mean, that's just a minute example, but expand upon that as much as you want, including what Spirit is saying about like verbally hurting people, right? Because even those little things, if you catch yourself feeling or questioning like, wait, was that the right thing? It may not have necessarily been, but the good thing that comes out of that is that it gives you an excuse to make up an opportunity for yourself where you do a good thing in a new scenario, in a new situation, and then you almost, when I've done it was just something that was happened to me, and then I was just like, this gives me motivation to like make sure I just like be like more conscious of the kindness that I'm sharing selfishly in the future, if you ever catch yourself like being selfish or not sharing love where you could share love, sort of thing. I mean, because again, you're not obligated to, but I think that's why we're here. We're here to like make other people happy, as simple as that sounds. But I mean, if you can make other people happy in your life, then do it. Like that's an amazing thing, and just there's so much. I posted this yesterday on my Facebook page. I'm just like, I'm really happy to be alive right now, and I'm really happy that everybody reading this is alive right now, and everybody listening to this radio show is alive right now, and you guys should be happy that you're alive right now. in the sense that the now is connected to the future, because there are some awesome things ahead. There is a great adventure in line for all of us, and I vision it. I can see it in the sense that I can see potential, and there's so much potential within us, and I know you guys can see it too. So let's take what we said and let's embody it. I think going back to what Justin was saying, it's really fun to be able to talk about this stuff, but what's even more important, or equally as important, depending on how you want to look at it, is the practice of embodiment, and use that word to give it some sort of concreteness within your practice. So embodiment would be something like meditation, or would be something like putting into action. You know, you can't just talk about yoga, you have to embody it. You have to do yoga. You can't talk about meditation, you have to embody it. So you practice meditation. So, Spirit, do you have anything else to add here? Because if not,
I just wanted to add one more little thing there. Just what you were talking about your heart being. Listen to your heart. Now, this is actually something pretty interesting, that the heart itself is our emotional guidance system, but it functions based on the conditioning that we have within our mind. And I'll explain how this works. So if a person has conditioned their mind to be, say, non-violent, to be very calm, to be very quiet, now their mind and their body are conditioned to be that way. So when they're in a state where it's a calm place, they're relaxed, they're with friends, they feel that way and their heart doesn't beat. It's at a level of stillness. But then when you take that person who is conditioned to believe in stillness, and then you put them into a room where a fight's about to break out, their heart, they'll feel that density, and their heart will beat. And your heart beats is a guidance system to tell you this is not in line with what your mind is conditioned to believe. Now, in quite the opposite way, people say, how do people live in these situations where there's violence, there's abuse, and stuff like that? And it's the mind is conditioned to understand that that is the normal place for them. So their heart is in stillness in that situation. Their heart's not pounding out of their chest unbelievably to let them know, because they've conditioned themselves to be that way. Now, if you take that person and you put them at a hippie festival, they're going to be like, what is going on here? And they're going to feel nervous. They're going to feel out of place. Their heart's going to be beating, and it's because they've conditioned themselves that way. So it's really interesting that not only our heart will guide us. It is an emotional guidance system, but the guidance, it can only guide us based on how we condition our minds. So what I'm going to just recommend to people is to be the jockey that rides the horse and listens to their heart.
Say that again. You slightly cut out. Be the jockey.
I said, be the jockey that rides the horse and listens to their heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
What he said. All right, cool. All right, thanks, Spirit. We'll bring you back on after the meditation, but after we wrap out of the meditation, we're actually going to change up the guests, so we'll let you and Justin go for then, and we'll bring on 2 other people onto the air, so we'll get another like 3-person triangle thing going on for the second half of the show. So Justin, Spirit, that's cool with you guys?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Cool, man. All right, so again, Spirit, we'll bring you on after the meditation, but for now, thank you, obviously, and I'm going to mute you. So, Justin, do you need me to say? I mean, Justin's a really knowledgeable guy in terms of like variety of meditation practices. There's not really too much that I need to say about him.
I'll keep it in theme with the jockey thing. I mean, it seems like it makes sense simple, since we're talking about trying to take an idea and actualize it. We'll try that out during the meditation.
Okay. So just before Justin gets into this, obvious reminder, guys, just take this next couple minutes or next couple seconds to get comfortable. Find a spot that works for you. Even if you are on a laptop and you're in a room with a bed, maybe just go sit on your bed and sit up with like your back against the wall if that's like an extra comfortable position for you. So whatever it takes. All right. So I'm going to pass this over to Justin. And well, actually, let me just check. Justin, should we have audio to play? Or are you going to set us up to get into like a stillness and then we'll like play audio and come back?
What do you mean by play audio?
Basically, like we like get to the point and then silence on your behalf, but then I'll like have an audio track in there, such as a singing bowl track that we traditionally have on here.
Oh, okay. Sure, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, okay. Okay, opposed to just like you doing like a guided voice the entire way. Yeah, we'll have space for us to like connect within our own silence. So, yeah. Justin, just let me know when you want me to cue the music then. So
how long do you want me to just leave it up to me, or like is there what's your usual duration?
Go with it, man. I just trust your instincts. We're not in a rush, and I know you're good. I trust what you do, and I appreciate what you do. So, give them a good one. That's what I say. You know what I mean?
That didn't sound cheesy at all. Don't worry, man. Okay, so the first.
Okay, I'm muting my mic, so Justin, it's all you. Go ahead.
Cool. All right, so the first stage of meditation is obviously, as Brendon said, finding a comfortable position. Not a position that looks spiritual, but one that feels comfortable. That's the first stage of meditation. So the next part, as a part of that stage of meditation and relaxing the body, is you want to start relaxing each muscle at a time. So the way we're going to do this is if you focus on your heartbeat for a moment, we'll bring our attention towards the heartbeat. Feeling it beating in your chest. Now, just as you can focus on your heartbeat in the chest, try bringing your attention towards the lower abdomen or the stomach and see if you can feel your heartbeat there. So this is the way we're going to focus the heartbeat today to relax the body. So for example, try directing your attention to the heartbeat in one of your hands or your elbow or something. With enough concentration and focus, you'll be able to feel that pulse. So as the first stage of meditation, like we said, getting comfortable, we're going to use the heartbeat and the breath in combination to release every muscle in the body. So we're going to start by focusing on the heartbeat in our feet. Feeling with our breath the heart beating in our chest, and we breathe the pulse down to our feet. Releasing any tension. Then breathing the heartbeat and the pulse to the legs. Feeling that pulse release any muscle tension in the legs. Bringing our awareness of the pulse and breathing it towards the lower abdomen and the waist. Bring your attention to the lower back. Bringing your attention to the upper back and letting the heartbeat release any tension. Bringing it up to the shoulders. Feeling the pulse of your heartbeat move to the arms and the elbows. Releasing any unnecessary tension. into the hands. Focusing your attention up to the upper chest and the neck. And finally, with the face, the back of the head, and the crown. And we're going to bring all that focus and concentration and energy back down into the heart, across the front of the face, passing through the neck, and into the chest. So the idea of this practice is to be consciously using the pulse, the heartbeat of the body to be able to move the energy around, so to speak, by following each pulse in the body. Now, in the same way, if any muscle tension arises in the body, we would send the pulse there and release it. The same way we would do it if tension arises in the mind, meaning useless thought. In our meditation practice, there is no need for any thought whatsoever. The only need is awareness. So if you find any tension arising in the mind, simply send that energy you're directing throughout your body to the mind for it to be released and dissolved. So we can kind of learn how relaxing the physical muscle is the same way we would relax the mind. This is what they teach a lot in spiritual schools. So we're just going to bring our attention to the heartbeat, the core. And we're slowly going to work our way towards expanding our awareness of the heartbeat to the point where we feel the entire pulse of our body. Breathing in and out the entire pulse of life. So bringing it back to our theme, the rider and the horse, let's simply ask ourselves the question as we focus on the heartbeat and breathing in this pulse and out this pulse. Where is the next thought? Where is it? Just sit there inside of that question. If it helps, you can imagine that question. Where is the next thought? Coming from the pulse of your heart, connecting the two ideas together. So now we can start the meditation practice, and I'll be silent now that our body is relaxed. The goal is to simply continue focusing on the pulse, us breathing in and out this pulse, this pulsing question. Where is the next thought? Okay, so bringing yourself back to the awareness of the physical body, becoming aware of the present moment. Right now you're sitting in a chair, laying down, standing maybe, listening to an electronic voice out of your computer, coming from outer space, coming from a different part of the planet. Whoa, trippy. Open your eyes.
Thank you very much, Justin.
So the goal of that meditation, guys, if you're curious, is to try to create that split. Because right now we're a centaur. We believe ourselves to be a part of the horse, when really we're technically a jockey riding the horse that has control. So asking the question, where is the next thought? Actively being the observer.
Cool, man.
Anyways, I'm done here. My work here is done. But I'm gonna post a link. I'm gonna post a link for you guys. And this is something that, if I was you 2 years ago, which would be me sitting there 2 years ago, I would have hoped that this link was sent to me, and it was at some point. So I'll do my past 2-year self a favor and just check that out.
All right, cool.
Just a bunch of videos on philosophical stuff, if you're interested.
Yeah. Well, Justin, do you have to jet? Because I was going to say... I'm
going to be listening in the shadows.
Yeah. Because one thing, just while we got you here, I would love to just... I mean, you've done a lot so far, and I'm just kind of setting up some time for other people to call in. So other people who are looking to call in for the second half of the show, if you're on Skype, please call in now. Now is the time to do it, and we'll bring you guys on in the next couple of minutes. Just looking to fill up the queue as it is right now. But Justin, I was just going to ask, because a lot of people here are really interested in the topic of dream exploration, and just keeping in theme with meditation. I was just going to ask you if you can provide some sort of answer without getting into too much detail, but what would you suggest as a good practical tip for people to do before they go to sleep at night to help them remember the dreams? What I mean is, what type of meditation should they do before they go to sleep at night? Because doing meditation before you go to sleep at night definitely serves a purpose. So I just wanted you to share something on that. Yeah, something practical.
I would say the most critical thing for the dream explorer, or the explorer of the superior realms, so to speak, or however you want to look at it or call it, the heavens, I don't know, the astral plane, that's an interesting one. Anyways, yeah, retrospection. The key is first remembering your dreams. So, I mean, I wouldn't call this a meditation practice. I would more say this is a good preliminary exercise to do before meditating. Like you'd meditate as you go to sleep, but before going to do that practice where you try to stay consciously aware as your body falls asleep, that meditation practice, before you do that practice, do a retrospection. So basically, the end of your day, go either sit or stand, depending on how tired you are, because if you're tired, you should be standing up because you'll probably fall asleep, or sitting up. And go backwards through your day and try to remember what happened. Like, start with the big things first. What are the lessons I learned? What are the mistakes that I feel like I could correct and I don't want to repeat in my next day? And just go back and really try to remember everything that happened. And that way, when you wake up in the morning, you can do the same practice. Where was I? What was I just doing? But most importantly, what was the lesson I learned? Because that's the most important thing to learn when you're remembering your dreams at first, is what is this lesson I learned here? And then you can start to, get more into the details. When you start to work with it on a more regular basis, you can try to remember, what are all the streets I walked down? What are all the people I talked to, et cetera, et cetera. And in that way, your dream memory will grow as well with that. So the practice feeds itself. The retrospection exercise is, for myself, is the only thing that has yielded results. Now, lucid dreaming, all that stuff, that happens all on its own if you're working with dream memory and just writing down everything you can remember. If you are a person that says, like, hey, I don't remember dreams, what do? Think of every dream you can still remember from your childhood and write those down too, and I guarantee you'll start dreaming if you do that. So to synthesize those, it was retrospection. Practice retrospection. Look back through your day. The second one is write down your dreams. And the third one is do retrospection in the morning too. So that would be the quick tips. There you go.
Tips. There's tips. There it is, guys.
And if that was all too much, you're going to forget it, or you didn't write it down, then that link, I'll just post it again. It basically comes from one of those videos on that. So I just sent it again.
And I'll include that. I'll include that in the show notes as well once this shows up on YouTube as well for everyone to check out. But yeah, cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Justin.
See you later, digital friends.
Thanks, Justin. And Justin, I was just going to ask, how do you feel about sharing your Facebook profile for people who want to get in touch with you? Yes or no?
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure? Whatever. Just link it, or I guess I'll paste it too.
Yeah, if you can post that in the live chat. So for anybody in the live chat, feel free to add Justin and try not to. Talk to him.
Maybe join your digital cult. I was trying to avoid it, man.
Well, I was about to say, I'm just like,
I'm just kidding. No, it's just because you're on Saturdays and it's too late for me.
This works. I'm glad you're able to join us tonight, so that makes it worth it. Awesome. All right, thanks, Justin. Talk to you later, dude. Cheers. Cool. All right, so there's Justin. And again, that's Justin from Paradigm Shift London, Ontario, Canada. He's been with the Paradigm Shift community since we started back in the college, back when it was Paradigm Shift Fanshawe College. And he's been around for a while, and it's been really, I'm really fortunate to have him as a friend. You can tell he's really interested in a lot of the esoteric teachings, and in specific from the teachings of Gnosis, Gnosis, and that's the link that he sent in the live chat. It's a bunch of lecture series from the Gnosis London community, and again, Gnosis is the word itself means experience through knowledge, and it basically is a compilation of a lot of different information from a variety of sources, be it religious or otherwise, and in specific, it focuses a lot on practical things that people can do that yield results that help people explore more of reality, such as the dream space and lucid dreaming and astral projection. You get into those topics, but there's obviously a lot more to it. But again, if you're into that stuff, if you've been listening to this show, keep an eye open for the YouTube link for this episode, because I will include a link into there. It's on Vimeo, but those of you in the live chat, you already got the link, and you can check that out ahead of time. And even go back and check out some of the original videos that Justin helped me out on with the Sight Beyond Sight episodes, and that's at youtube.com/ParadigmShiftSBS, Sight Beyond Sight. But you can find those through the actual Paradigm Shift Central website, but right now I'm upgrading it, so you can find them either way. So guys, from here we have 30 minutes left in the show, and it's been a really good show. That was a really good meditation, and I can always tell when it's a good meditation when there's no new messages popping up in the live chat, and that was the case this time. So big shout out, and good job to everybody who took part on that. And it's always a fun thing to do, and it's always cool to be able to think that we're all over the world doing it, and we're doing it at different times and spaces. And I think some meditations may more focus on like the global network that we are, but I think that one was could have been for you to choose to be a very personal one. So if you enjoyed it, please feel free to go back and listen to this episode again. And that's the great part about having the recording. If you found Justin's guided meditation useful, and if that's something that you can use as a tool, then of course please go back, listen to it again. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to be of service to each other and be able to help out in any way we can. So again, thank you to Justin, and thank you to Spirit as well. I didn't officially get to say farewell to him. He is sticking around. He's listening. He may be in the live chat. I don't know if Spirit's in the live chat. Spirit, if you're in the live chat, let the people know. And feel free to post your Facebook profile as well, and people can get in touch with you. If not, just check for it in the YouTube show notes. And again, guys, please share the show once it's up on YouTube afterwards, because that's just another way that we continue to get word out about the community. So we do have another person who's on the call, but I'm not entirely sure if they're looking to come on because they haven't got themselves queued up. Person who is with Skype, username Annie Banny. If you want to be brought onto the air, press 1 on your keypad in Skype. But I'll try bringing you on in a minute either way. But in the meantime, guys, we are looking for more people to call in. So please, if you'd like to call in, please do so. And if we can at least get one other person, then that gives us a nice triangle to work with. But I'll put this into the people in the live chat. What would you guys be interested in talking about for the last 30 minutes of the show? Obviously, there's nothing in specific that I had in mind. I mean, there were a couple things that I was alluding to at the beginning of the show, and actually I should and will go over just a couple things quickly, but earlier on in the Facebook page, I was asking people what they wanted to talk about, and some of the things that they brought up were the topics of astral projection, past life hypnosis, lucid dreaming, obviously quite common, popular topics, but no problem going over them again, extraterrestrial abductions, superpowers via meditation. I like that one. Mysticism, ancient and modern mystery schools, the Bosnian pyramids, the power of human emotion, resource-based economy, and those are just some examples to name a few. So again, still looking for people to call in to the show through Skype or through a regular phone at 347-539-5493. Again, call on a regular phone at 347-539-5493. Cool. So, one thing I was going to talk about, I wanted to talk about okay, let me just tell you what we're going to be doing on the show next week. Next week on the show, we are going to be having a good buddy of mine on, this will be confirmed, but it's pretty sure it's happening. A good buddy of mine named Alistair, and he's in a musical band that does like metal, progressive metal, and the band itself is called DMT. And he's a really interesting guy. He does some awesome posts on Facebook with a lot of transformational art, you could say, stuff that looks like Alex Gray, and does a lot of writing. And I believe he's working on a book, so that will be something we'll talk about as well. But another thing that we will be getting into, potentially, you'll have to wait and see once the show actually happens, but we will be talking about the DMT experience, which is a very, very popular topic for those of you who are familiar with it, just because of the it's just so wait and see. Just wait and see. I mean, those of you who are still learning about DMT, feel free to research it in the meantime, but we'll get there when we get there. So it looks like, and again, that's for next week's show, so stay tuned for that, and we'll probably do that again on Sunday at 9 p.m. EST if this is the time that works well for you guys. And it seems like it is. We got 30 people still in the live chat, so big shout out to everybody who's been sticking with us, and yeah, I'm quite happy with how this is going. So I think we'll roll with the Sunday time slot for a while, and we'll see where that takes Paradigm Shift Radio. So big shout out to everybody who is a part of this community, because if you're listening to the show, then you are a part of this community. But of course, Paradigm Shift encourages you to invest even more, to engage even more, to take that next step. And if you're interested in starting a Paradigm Shift community in your location, please go to facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Central. Get connected through there. Pay attention. I'll make sure that the links are up there if they aren't up there at this very moment, but you'll be in the loop, and we'll help get you started in your location, and we'll get buttons to you. Oh yeah, another thing I was going to mention at the top of the show that I didn't. I had another successful day doing awesome buttoning. I was giving out free hugs, giving out buttons, letting people know about the regular meetings that we had here in Paradigm Shift London, and that was just like another report from the front line of successful buttoning. And buttons are the way of the future. Go back, check out previous episodes. I spent more time talking about buttons. There's other videos of me doing buttons on my YouTube channel, and if you're interested in buttons, pay attention to the website, or just email me at brendon.paradigmshift@gmail.com, and that's BRENDON.paradigmshift@gmail.com. So I'm going to bring Annie onto the air. She is queued up and ready to go, and we still will be looking for another person to join in. There's 24 minutes left in the show, so for anybody else who is interested, please feel free to call in, but we're going to bring Annie on, and we'll see where the show goes from there. So Annie, if you are ready, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello, Annie?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
It sounds clear. We're coming through clear. All right, perfect. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, Annie, welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio. Please first tell us where you are from and what you would like to bring to the show tonight.
All right. Well, actually, in the live chat, it's under Andrea, and I'm from Battle Creek, Michigan, and I represent the Battle Creek Paradigm Shift page.
Awesome. All right, now let's put two and two together. Nice, because you said you were probably going to call in and everything, so that's wicked. Glad to hear.
Yeah,
cool.
Annie Banani is actually just another name like I use for the gaming systems and stuff. So.
Nice. Okay, since you brought it up, what do you play, game-wise, console-wise? Other
Nothing
than WoW.
Recently,
okay.
But the PS3. So.
Oh, okay. Did you play WoW?
No, actually, I played, Call of Duty, just some stuff like with my kids and stuff. I've got 2 kids, so.
Nice. Yeah, playing Call of Duty with the kids. Oh, yeah. Good pastime.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, okay. Looks like we do have another caller. Oh, okay. I think we're going to bring on, Jess from Paradigm Shift Paradigm Shift Connecticut. I can see you in the queue. If you want to be brought on, feel free. Just press 1 in the queue, and then we'll bring Jess on. And then this will be another admin from Paradigm Shift Community. But before, it looks like she does want to be brought on. And then I'll throw it back to Annie. And Annie, I'll ask you what it is that you would like to bring to the show tonight. So let me just bring Jess on real quick. So Jess, if you're ready, I can bring you on. Hey, Jess.
Hello.
Hey,
how is everyone tonight?
Awesome. Doing awesome. Psychedelic Sunday.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Cool,
the phone's for some reason, I don't know, if you were talking about it on the show, but I listened for a little while. At the beginning, I was actually walking with my friend Taylor up to his house. And now I'm walking all the way through town, but the phones weren't working at some point. I don't know, it's I just want to bring that up. But yeah,
cool.
It was kind of interesting.
You're mobile right now.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. And Jess, I know I get it. I'm going to throw this back to Andrea from Paradigm Shift Battle Creek, Michigan. And but I know just
oh my god.
Just reiterate what I was talking about a couple seconds ago about how awesome the Paradigm Shift buttons are and how everybody should get buttons. Because you've had some success with them, I believe, right?
Wait, who, me or Andrew?
You, Jess, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's actually going pretty well. I went to, there was this big, arts and crafts festival, in South Norwalk, yesterday and today, and me and my mom went out there. I saw a band that I saw at Evolve Fest last year, which was really interesting, and but yeah, I was giving out buttons to people. They were loving them. I saw some guy with just fractals all over his shirt, and it was yo, you right there, high five, you get a button right now, and he chose the wolf one. That
cool.
was and I was I knew it. There's that look in your eye, man. But it's pretty well. It's I probably honestly I could probably use close to 200 of them in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah. I mean I've gone through quite a few. I mean obviously having the button machine, I've gone through over 300 buttons in the last little while. But yeah, and I was gonna say, on the topic of buttons, and just for everybody who may not be totally up to speed, the Paradigm Shift buttons are a variety of buttons with different consciousness-shifting images, such as Sacred Geometry, the Eye of Ra is a popular one, and a variety of other cool stuff that catch people's attention and can be used as initiator elements to spark synchronicity and to connect with people in your community. It's really cool when in a normal situation you might see someone on a park bench and be I want to talk to that person, but I think it would be socially awkward. Now, if you have buttons, you can break that mold and go outside of the box and be excuse me, sir, would you like a free button? Or just be I have a gift for you. And then, boom, it's just breaking through that bubble that we have created around ourselves and merging our bubbles. And I was going to say, Andrea, you're going to be having some buttons sent your way in the near future because, you recently put in an order for yourself. And so I look forward to hearing about the fun and exciting times you'll have with your buttons in Battle Creek.
Awesome. I am really excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah, they're definitely awesome. They definitely do just break the mold. Absolutely, it's a wonderful tool. Oh yeah, and I wanted to bring up because my friend Taylor, he I was giving him buttons and showing him paradigm shift stuff and whatnot, and he's been helping me with the buttons as well. But a couple of our friends and stuff, they don't really like the big ones as much as they do the small ones for hats.
Oh yeah.
And whatnot.
Oh,
yeah. So
okay, yeah.
I was thinking about I don't know how I know that yours was a $200 $300 button maker.
Yeah, there's
or
different machines for different sizes. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking almost in investing a smaller button one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I mean, eventually that would be the next step, is that individual paradigm shift communities get their own button makers. So I mean, yeah, if that's that's definitely something that I want to be able to help out you guys with. So sweet. Okay. We'll just push aside the button talk for now, because I know I could talk about buttons all day. But Andrea, going back to my original question, what was there anything in particular that you would like to bring to the show tonight?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say that what Spirit and Justin said really resonated with me, and the more that I learned to quiet my mind, the more that everything that they were talking about is so evident in my life. And something that's really helped me is trying to understand where everybody else is coming from, which is kind of reflecting and observing them as well, not just myself. And I think once you learn to love people unconditionally, how we're meant to love each other, that you really start to see the reflections of the thoughts that go on in your mind and their minds, and that the abilities that you learn that you're capable of is just amazing. And I hope everybody else can realize this and really expand on it.
Mhm. For sure. Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you felt that way, and it's always reassuring. So thanks again to Justin and Spirit, and to everybody who has been on Paradigm Shift Radio, and to everybody who will be on Paradigm Shift Radio, because it's already happening. It's all causality is nonlinear. No, really, it's not. So. That's how thoughts work. If we have an idea, we can take that idea and a good metaphor, again, going back to accessibility of information. Anybody take this metaphor, because it wasn't even originally mine, but when you think of intention as throwing a boomerang off of a rooftop. You have to make sure that you're still on that same rooftop when the boomerang comes back to catch it. So, I mean, sometimes we can do that. We have an intention, we'll put it out there, but then we'll walk away and forget about it, and then we'll miss it. But then we could, we can always try again. But ideally, if we put out an intention, you do that. You take a thought and you throw it into the future, and then you prepare yourself to align with it. An idea that, a basic idea that came to mind when Spirit was talking about stuff earlier, literally in a very this sounds kind of cool, but if it sounds cool, that's good, because I want you guys to get excited about it. We are constantly creating and moving through portals for ourselves all the time. We create portals. We create access points to new parts of ourselves and new experiences all the time. So rather than just stepping through portals or stepping through windows of opportunity, create portals. Use your portal gun from Portal, and those of you who play Portal, and shoot it, and then jump through, and then fly out the other side and stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The cake is a lie, right? That's what you're talking about, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about. Okay. Well, actually, before we get too deep into this, and we'll, if you guys, still talking about the topic of cakes being lies, I'm gonna bring on my buddy Mario, and he's a good buddy of mine, and he's in Montreal, Quebec, and he is associated with the Paradigm Shift community and helps out on my Instagram profile. So, Mario, I'm going to bring you onto the air, and this will be cool. Me and him actually haven't chatted before on Skype or anything. So, Mario, if you're ready, we're going to bring you onto the air. Here we go. Hello? Hey, Mario?
The sidewalk ended. What?
Hey. Yo, Mario, can you hear us? Okay. I sort of yes and no. It sounds like you're in a cave. Go ahead, try saying something.
He's where the sidewalk ended.
Mario, are you Are you in a cave? Are you chained? Are there shadows on the wall in front of you? Is that where you are?
I was looking here, actually.
Okay, sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I just want to... Okay, Jeff, I'm going to mute you because there's, like, bonus noise coming from you. Okay, purely... Mario, just say something. Give us some sound feedback here.
Law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Okay. All right, okay, Mario, we can hear you, so welcome to the show, dude.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
It's been a pleasure helping you out and expanding the show as much as possible.
Yeah, and you like I was gonna say, like, my Instagram, for anybody on Instagram, not youtube.com/Instagram. That doesn't make sense. Instagram.com/SkullBabylon is where you can find my Instagram, and yeah, thanks for helping out with that, because I know some people have found out about the program through Instagram. But I don't know, Mario, did you have anything that you want to respond about what I was talking about, like portals and creating and visioning?
Well, yeah, you create your... Definitely.
Go ahead.
The only thing that comes to mind right now is, like, a few weeks ago, I was up in the mountains in Mont Tremblant, and your thoughts create reality. We were overlooking the stars. Like, I've never seen the stars like that. Finally, like, emerging, just laying down and emerging in the stars, and then looking at the Pleiades, like trying to locate stars and everything, and then this flashy light just flying across the sky pops out. Very quick though, it was like half a second. It's like it was responding to our thoughts or something like that. Well. Okay. Is this a UFO report? Is that basically like what you're talking about? Yeah.
Right?
I would
okay.
Say so.
Okay. Cool.
Or a flying or a star. I don't know. It was like red, orangey.
Did it change direction at all? Like you just said, it got brighter. Is that what you said?
No. It was very far. Like it's like a shooting star. It just popped out and disappeared.
Okay.
It was very fast. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that could have been shooting star, but at the same time, that could have been like the universe talking back to you. I mean, even if it wasn't a UFO, it could have still been just like the universe giving you a chance to show something cool. You know, is that a crazy thought? You tell me. The idea that like a bunch of guys chilling out on a hill, just having a good time, and the universe is like, hey, those guys are cool. I'm gonna show them a shooting star. Here, this one's for you. Make a wish. And then like. Oh, cool, thanks, universe, and then, like, brofist the universe sort of thing. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, being so high in the mountains, like, it was an altitude I've never reached, so you could see, like, the whole universe. Like, it's not just only the stars. It's actually, like, wow, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And just that,
Go ahead.
Extremely... an experience like that, your mind gets expanded forever. You just see the limitless vastness of the universe. I recommend people listening to this call just get out there and enjoy nature as much as you can, because it's where you're outside of the wireless and cell phone communications. There's no interference with your human frequencies. And it's a place to heal and refresh. So
yeah. No, that's a good reminder. I mean, people are looking for mind-expanding experiences. Go look at the sky, and in specific, go climb a hill or a mountain, and then look at the sky. So yeah. No, that's a good point, man. Yeah. And Andrea, feel free to jump in at any time, and I'll bring Jess back on in a minute.
Well, I was just going to say that, the universe loves when you pay attention to it, and especially there's so much beauty out in nature, and that's what, like, I was connected to growing up, and now we're all in this, technical world, so it's so nice to go back to that and realize that's really where we're from and what we're all about. It's just connection with everything.
Yeah.
It's very totally beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the big paradigm shift. When you really do not only you don't just read this idea of oneness in a book, but you can feel it, you can see it, you can know it, and you are it. Like that's not everyone's
exactly.
there, you know. Yeah. Okay, Jess, I'm going to bring you back on, and feel free to add into this. Hello, Jess?
Hey.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think that ICP put it the best when they said magnets, how do they work? And I'm pretty sure that's, like, the best way I could describe it. I don't even know. Like, I just thought that that'd be something interesting to add, but, like, I'm, like, almost passing by this field, and I'm almost like, that sounds like a good place to sleep, but there's, like, chicks, and, like, then, like, you know, things are all crawling on me, but, like, I don't even think that they will if I'm like, hey, just let me, like, do this one time. Or, like, sleep in the abandoned house because it's right over here, too, and that sounds like a great idea.
Sure. Follow your gizzard.
About the universe and stuff, like, I don't know, man, everything's pretty big, and I sure feel small. I feel small enough to even, like, put my last name as Smalley, you know what I mean? Like, that's another good way to put it, but, yeah, words are interesting.
Yeah. Just remember
they definitely
that you have a lot more power than you can imagine, so don't feel too small.
Yeah. Like, I look at the smallness that we are, and the fact that we are so small, to me, makes us even more meaningful, because we literally are, like, all of that which is around us crystallized into the smallness that we are. So, like, take the entire universe, make it super awesome, and then bring that into a human form and walk around and stuff. So, I mean, that's yeah, like, I just like that idea that each one of us is the center of our own universe in a literal sense, so to speak.
That feels like it.
Feels
kind
like
of like the stars and, like, everything above you are just, like, projecting as like, the story told throughout everything around you, sort of. Like, the same way that, like, you're, like, water and, like, so many different, like, things that have existed way beyond your own quote-unquote existence. And that you're able to just, like, really just be in, wow, Owl Hill, passing Owl Hill. Owl's sucking me around.
Owl medicine. Cool.
So, yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, because this actually fits into something I alluded to earlier in the show when I was talking very quickly about you guys. I'm not the only one who has seen this, so for those of you who know exactly what I'm talking about, that's awesome. What I'm talking about is, if you go sit down in the grass on a warm summer day, sometimes there's bugs. Like, sometimes there's these small, super small little bugs, and they fly around in a swarm, but they isolate themselves within a single location of about 1 meter, and then they kind of just go up and down in a spiral, which is like, that spiral in itself, like, it looks like DNA, and that's because, again, like, what I was talking about, like, consciousness is a mirror test for us to see ourselves in our surroundings. Keep your eyes open for patterns in nature that are displaying themselves to you in, like, fractals and in spirals and in, like, DNA-like methods, because that's just one example, but I just think it's, like, it was really cool, and I've seen it numerous times, but sometimes it's not always there. But if you ever notice that, just take a look at, like, these bugs, and you'll see it, and just observe their patterns, and it's crazy, because, like, they literally are just, like, traveling up and down in, like, this DNA spiral helix. Like, it's the helix over and over and over again. Like, that helix is one of the patterns that we see all throughout nature here and there. So, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I love fireflies. I remember being in a canoe, and there were these mosquitoes that bite you super hard and sting like nothing I've ever experienced. But the fireflies, they eat those mosquitoes. And they were, like, they were pushing us to go faster. Like, these fireflies, they're so friendly, and, like, if you analyze their patterns, like I've seen in a few videos of sacred geometry, their wings are incredible. And I got to see one up close, and they're amazing. They're helicopters of nature.
The helicopters of nature. Yeah. Okay, for everybody here, I give you this task. Consider this a mission for yourself amongst many other missions. Meditate until the fireflies come out. Do it. Like, before you die, do it. while you're still alive, while you are here right now on Earth in this existence, do that amongst many other amazing things. Meditate until the fireflies come out, or just chill out until the fireflies come out. I mean, people do that all the time. It's awesome. Shout out to fireflies. Cool. Anybody else feel free to jump in. There's only a couple minutes left. Andrea or...
I mean, I understand. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, you go ahead. Like, they've heard my voice way too much. Go.
I was just going to say, as far as, like, the fractals, the pictures that I've come across, like the microscopic pictures of nature, is just, it's gorgeous, and I love how all the fractals look, but I've never really experienced with any super psychedelic stuff, so I don't really have a whole lot of basis with that. So I can really totally imagine it because everything is just so connected, and like I said, just being out in nature, you can just understand why everything is, you know, existing. So it's, I would love to kind of experience that side. I'm not sure if maybe I just don't, I haven't tapped into that yet.
Actually, that, sorry, Mario or Jess, if you guys want to throw something in there.
I might not know exactly what you're talking about, but, like, I understand how you feel. And I feel like that is, like, the most important, like, lesson to really be learned as humans.
Mario?
Which is, well, what is that lesson you're talking about?
To learn to feel rather than just hear, I guess. Is that what you're saying, Jess?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I definitely feel how everything is a reflection of everything, and like I definitely feel that everybody is a reflection of everybody else. I mean, you know, myself included. And but you know, people always talk about sacred geometry, and they, you know, how they're so creative with it. I just don't have a whole lot of visual experience, I guess, of in the physical world of that.
If you analyze fruits actually have the toroidal floor and a lot of sacred geometry embedded. You don't need psychedelics or anything to see that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I do see it like with, like, you know, microscopic stuff, like microscopic pictures and you know what I mean, stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not seeing something else. I don't know.
Yeah, like
I think a lot of like what we do.
Go ahead, Jess.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like the best way to like really come across like these feelings and like these things in your vision is to never like look for them and to have them come to you, like that sort of thing. Like I always felt as if
hidden in plain sight.
You know, that's the most important key. Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you for everybody who's been joining us on the show tonight. Much appreciation to Andrea from Battle Creek, from Jess from Connecticut, and Mario, who's in Montreal, Quebec. How do you guys feel about doing an after-party hangout? I think we might as well. So for everybody who's tuned into the show and who's in the live chat and who's been enjoying the conversation, please feel free to take it forward. I'm going to create a Google Hangout after party, which is something that we do here on Paradigm Shift Radio, and I'm going to post that into the live chat in the next minute and also on the Facebook page. So keep an eye open for that. Join in the live chat in the Hangout and continue the conversation further. So if you've been tuning in and you've been enjoying this show, then please check it out. And of course, if you found tonight's program valuable, then please consider donating to help support Paradigm Shift Radio pay its monthly website costs through Blog Talk Radio. Go to GoFundMe.com/Paradigm Shift Radio and you can donate through that page there. So the show is going to end in the next few seconds. Thank you again to everybody who's been tuning in, and we look forward to having you join us on future episodes. Please feel free to tell your friends about Paradigm Shift Radio and join us at Facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio. Take care, everyone, and until next time, we'll see you in the future. Namaste. So, say bye to the internets, guys. Bye, internets. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, internets.
I'm going to try some ninja techniques probably with some people.
Ninja techniques coming up. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. All right.
Marketing techniques.
Ninja marketing. All right. Thanks for it. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.